Hello, 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 everyone, and welcome to Rock Your Flawsome. Ha! So most of you who joined this probably know that flawsome is a made-up word. I did not make up the word, excuse me, but it's a made-up word that's actually made up of two words. It's flaws and awesome. Flaws and awesome. If anybody here is old enough to remember, there was a show called The Electric Company, and they used to sound out words like aw, some, awesome. So I'm going to say flaw, awesome, flawsome. Let's just cut off the part of a piece of the word. And flawsome and rocking your flawsome. And this class is going to be all about a conversation around loving what is, loving your imperfect perfections and your perfect imperfections and your imperfect perfections. I am truly a believer in embracing what is, loving what is, and actually working with what is. And I'm going to tell you a few stories tonight about how rocking my flawsome, rocking my imperfections actually worked for me. Maybe even rocking my imperfections got me a little bit further or got me in the room, or at least just helped me stand in my truth. And we live in a society that, there's a lot of conversation around perfection and being perfect. And we want things to be perfect. And the thing is that I'm now in a place in my life where I am really having a conversation around embracing excellence. There's nothing wrong with embracing excellence in your life and moving towards excellence, but perfection doesn't even exist. Not really, and not even in nature does perfection exist. And we're going to talk about that tonight too. So this is the welcome. Thank you so much for saying yes to this journey. And thank you so much for saying yes to this conversation. And yes, it will be a conversation because I'll stop at some point and take comments and questions and let's turn it into a conversation. So I'll teach a little bit and then I'll open it up so that you can share and possibly teach as well. I mean, if you want to teach, I'm open to that. Those of you who know me know that I believe in community, and I call it the Kim-munity. And indeed, many of you are already members of my Kim-munity. And so it's Kim-munity. It's all about all of us teaching and learning and growing. And so yes, it's mine, but it's ours. And it's very important that you know that and understand that and feel that from me. And I think most of you do, or else you wouldn't be here, right? So we're going to spend about 90 minutes together today. Approximately 90. And so I've done the welcome. That was on my list of things to do. Oh, the other thing, and I love that people always call it housekeeping. I personally don't like housekeeping, but I'll say the housekeeping piece. You will get this replay as soon as it is uploaded, and I'm going to put it on Vimeo, and I'm going to make it protected so that only those who are this is not going to be something that's made available to the public. Only those who have raised their hand to say yes will have access to this, and I'll send you the replay as soon as it renders or does whatever it does. And there's also a book that goes along with it, and I was teasing you guys before I hit the record that there's a 23-page document called Rock Your Flawsome. I'm warning you now that this will take all of the ink in your printer. All of the ink in your printer will be gone after you print this one page. I'm joking, of course, but it's so pretty. It's got so many colors. I was like, man, I'm gonna have to replace my ink. So feel free to make this black and white if you decide to print it. You don't have to print it all. You just read it online. If you haven't received your ebook, I will send that to you. I'll probably just send an email that has the replay and this document just to make sure that you have it, because you should have had it right after you paid for the course, but maybe not everybody got it. Not course, class, I should say, master class. So I will make sure that you get this. And it's a really cool document. And I'm teaching from this document that I created. I'm also having a hot flash. Look, the imperfections are coming out right now. For the record, I'm grateful for you for saying yes to this. And let's begin. Let's begin. All right, so there. Oh, this is good. This feels really good. Okay, I'm going to put that there. So I explained what flawsome is. Flawsome is that made-up word, and that's actually something I do a lot. And I did it when I was a little kid. I would make up words. I did things my way, different. And I got to tell you that this whole thing of embracing imperfections and embracing being different, because that's also part of the conversation too. Embracing what's unique and awesome about you really started for me when I was a little girl. And the moment that I remember the most in understanding and really learning that we are all very different is in Girl Scout camp. So I was a Girl Scout, and I've told some of you those stories before. We went to summer camp. It was a really cool summer camp. And it was really cool because it was multi-culti. It was Black girls and white girls and Puerto Rican girls and Asian girls. It was really an awesome experience. And one of the stories I love to tell is, going to the beach and going swimming and getting out of the water, and all the white girls' hair was like long and stringy, and all my hair had drawn up like this. And I was like, how come my hair don't do that? Like my hair became like this little tight afro. And it was when I really began to understand, oh, I'm a little different. I don't know, whoa, okay. And of course, at that time, I'm 55 years old. So I'll say that, all the symbols of beauty were very much not, I should say, on the faces of the magazines and on the TV shows. The symbols of beauty, their hair didn't do this, their hair did that. Their hair blew in the wind. My hair didn't blow in the wind unless my mama pressed it out. And so that's the first memory that I have of, oh, I'm a little bit different, or that what is the sign for beauty? What is perfection? What is gorgeous and beautiful? So that's the first. And as a little girl, we all have those images that we see and experience. And if you're fortunate, you have a mother or aunties or grandmother who feeds into you and pours into you how beautiful you are and how perfect you are, and to not pay attention to the images. But that conversation just never came up because everybody was looking at those images. But the moment that was really galvanizing for me in Girl Scout camp was one of the troop leaders or one of the camp counselors said, that whole conversation around no two snowflakes are alike. And I could take that in like, oh, that's really cool. There's no two snowflakes alike. And then she said, and no two people are alike. And that freaked me out because I felt very different from everybody. I was a little girl who didn't really like playing with dolls. Like I was a feminine little girl, but dolls bored me. I was like, they don't do anything. I liked reading books. I liked watching TV, and I liked space stuff. Like, in fact, if you guys remember, there was a show on called Lost in Space. And I remember telling my parents, well, Mommy, Daddy, can we be the first Black family in outer space? Like, I wanted to travel. I wanted to be an astronaut. I didn't even know what it took. I didn't even know what that meant. And I liked robots, and I liked things that my girlfriends didn't like. And I would play with the Barbie, and I would go like, she's so boring. I want to go do this. And I just felt very different. And hearing that there were no two people alike on the face of the earth scared me, because I thought, well, how will I ever find a friend? Of course I had friends, but how will I find people who understand me? And I had a very strong sense of that. I think I was about 9 or 10. Like, how will I get along in the world if there's no one like me? Because I thought I was weird or unique or very different. And we all know that there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing whatsoever. But we know that now in adulthood that is embraced, and we'll talk about that too. But back then I found it very unsettling that I was weird and I was different and there was nobody like me who's going to understand me. Now, cut to a few years later, going to high school and looking at the landscape of high school. And some of you have heard me tell this story before too, and understanding that people get labels in high school because now you're beginning to go, well, I need to fit you into a box. You're this, you're that. You're the jock. You're the pretty girl. You're the dumb girl. You're the guy with the big feet. You're the fat girl. You're this, people get labels. And I think that that's what kids do and you begin to see the world doing it. And so you repeat what the world does, what the world teaches you, I think. And, in order to put people into a box, you put people into a box. And the box that I was going to be in was going to be the fat girl, because I was a plus size a little girl. I'm sorry, let me just change the view here so I can, let me know in the chat box if you can't hear this or if there's any problems whatsoever, you guys. And so I was very clear that I was different and I was the fat girl. And not that there weren't other fat kids in school, but I wasn't thinking like, let me band with the fat kids. I wasn't thinking that. I was just thinking I'm the fat girl and I'm going to get teased for being the fat girl. And I remember thinking to myself, how can I get around this? I mean, I can't lose. I mean, nobody was talking about losing weight. I mean, I was 14. I wasn't thinking go on a diet, get slim and be the foxy girl. I was like, right now I'm the fat girl. It's going to get hard. And so I remember thinking, I don't want people to laugh at me. So what I'll do is I'll make people laugh with me. And so I started telling jokes, or I would walk around and tell, funny voices, use funny characters and funny voices, or pull my pants up really high and make them high waters and create a character. And I began to become popular because I was crazy Kim Coles, and I would put M&Ms up my nose and, make funny noises. And when I tell you, it absolutely worked. No one focused on what I looked like. They focused on how I made them feel. I was crazy Kim Coles. And it worked so well. And being unique and figuring this out actually garnered me some major props. I was class president all 4 years in high school. Who does that? Like the first time, you're just a freshman, you're in a group of 10 people, and like, who wants to be the president? And I was like, I'll be president. And somebody's like, I'll be the vice president. And that's how it happened. But after that, there was a vote and there was a campaign. And I was like, I'm crazy Kim Coles. I'll keep it light and funny. And they're like, okay, it's so crazy. The other thing is that the fat girl does not have the experience of, typically the fat girl does not get to have the great high school experience. She doesn't get to be on the cheering squad. And again, some of you have heard me tell the story about I was a baton twirler on my high school cheering squad and made it all the way to secretary of the cheering squad. The fat girl doesn't get that. I even dated 2 boys on the football team, and not at the same time. I mean, like 2 boys, 2 separate boys. That's like an A-lister. And so I realize now that I took what was unique and different and weird about me, and I made it work for me. And I've been doing it ever since. And I wasn't aware of what I was doing. I was aware, but I wasn't aware of the magic of it. And we're going to talk about these imperfections that I had, and possibly imperfections that you have, and imperfections that are out in the world that you can take and turn around and making them work to your advantage. Now, I was goofy, and luckily I've been watching lots of Carol Burnett and Lucille Ball, so I knew how to imitate them and figure out how to make people laugh, and it worked for me. And who knew that I was working on a career at the time? And so I have a great understanding of embracing imperfections and embracing authenticity and embracing the beautiful and the not so beautiful, and showing to other people that you can just show up and do that too. And it might be a little fearsome in the beginning, or it might be a little scary in the beginning, and you might have to try it and dip your toe in the water and see, but it's your toe and you get to choose the water. Okay. So understanding that your uniqueness and your what we consider imperfection. The reason why I called this Flawsome, and the reason why we're looking at the imperfections in the perfection, because a perfect situation would be the perfect cheerleader, with the perfect body, and she's smart and she's pretty and she's wonderful, and you would think that she would have the perfect experience in high school. And here it is, the imperfect girl had the same experience. And what's funny is that a lot of my girls who were the perfect girls in life now, they're kind of having a hard time because they were lifted so high. Everything was awesome. Everything was perfect. Everything was wonderful. And now they have to figure out that sometimes life isn't that way. You have to make the most of what you got. So in the end, this class is going to be about making the most of what you already got. You don't need anything else. Just embrace what you got. All right. I explained that. I did that. Good. There you go. Moving on. Oh, I'm clipping right along. It's about becoming resourceful in the end and looking at things from new, fresh eyes and a new perspective. And so we're going to go over today the reality of imperfection. We're all flawed. Imperfections are authentic. There's strength in laughter, trust me, and how to embrace your imperfection, and something called wabi-sabi. I'll explain that in a minute, and how to fully embrace your self-confidence. So let me just check in with you guys. Are you doing okay? Do you want to put anything in the chat box? Do you have any questions or comments or thoughts? Or I'm going to have a little sip of water. All right, Claudia gave the thumbs up, doing good. So Nay says, I see you. Yes, I see you. And good, good, good. Oh, Elaine, good to have you too. Yay. And your book is in the mail. I'm going to make that happen tomorrow. Tomorrow it goes in the mail. Is it good to be reminded? Great, 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 great. Good, good. See, I know the people. I love the people. All right, so let's talk about this some more. So imperfections are actually a very good thing. They cause growth and they cause laughter. I laugh at myself. Laughter changed everything for me. I'm not saying you have to become a comedian and put M&Ms in your nose like I did, but laughing at yourself is a good thing, because it's not about taking life so seriously. There are mistakes. You make a mistake, you move on. You apologize to yourself. You apologize to what has happened, and you move on and you grow and you learn from it. So I said to you already that anytime that I have been my weird, wonderful, goofy, kooky self, I actually win. And not only do I win, I actually succeed. People will tell you that you are refreshing. You're so down to earth. Anytime you are being your usual self, people will say to you, this is how you know that you are on the right track with being your authentic, perfectly imperfect self. They'll say things like, you're so down to earth. I feel so comfortable talking to you. You remind me of me. You know, people see themselves in you. Things like, oh, this is so refreshing. You're so refreshing. Talking to you is so refreshing. When you walk into a room, everybody automatically feels better. And I'll say this too, even if you're shy, if people, you know, still resonate with you when you open up just a little bit and they're so happy to see you, that means you're being your authentic self. And there's nothing wrong with being shy. And the truth is, I'm actually an extroverted introvert. I'm introverted and I'm extroverted, but my shy, quiet time is precious to me. And those of us who are shy, when we open up just a little bit, people are so happy, like, oh, she's letting me in, yay. And it's because they're feeling your authenticity and they're feeling what's yummy about you. And like I said, they're looking for themselves in you. And I think that's what people do. I know I do that. I said on a live stream recently that I look for imperfections, and I didn't mean it that way. I'm saying that when I see imperfections, when I see vulnerabilities in people, I see myself. And even when I see, you know, these perfect pictures on Instagram or on social media or whatever, I'm always thinking about myself, the person behind this photo, like, what's their life really like? Like, have they washed the dishes today? Not that there's anything wrong with it. I think I have dishes in my sink right now. You know, what's their family life really like? The truth is that those pretty perfect pictures and stills are not real life. They're a capture that someone wanted you to see. And what's behind the picture is far more interesting than that perfectly filtered photo. Me included. A lot of pictures I put up are like, let me make this look good. Let me stand the right way. Let me look the right way. Because I want you to see me in my best light. And there's nothing wrong with, again, your best light or going for excellence. It's when we strive for this perfection that doesn't really exist, that is so draining, so annoying, and so unnecessary. Okay? There you go. The bottom line is that being you is just enough. So let's talk about the reality of imperfection. I want you to take a look around you, and if you just examine your surroundings, you will quickly realize that we do live in an imperfect world. The world is full of cracks and dents and dings and things that have not worked out as planned. You included. And when we have a sense that things are actually imperfect, where does our idea of perfection come from? We spend all this time to be perfect when the reality is that perfection, as we think about it, is actually a pipe dream. There really is no thing as perfection. I'm picking up the word perfection recently. And the thing about perfection is that it is flawlessness. But in nature is full of flaws. but still full of beauty. Let me just get to that part. We'll talk about that in just a minute. The truth is that we are all indeed flaws. We are human, and that's what makes us beautiful. And though we're not perfect, you've heard the saying before, well, you're only human, right? Well, the thing is that statement encapsulates, I love that word, encapsulates, it holds everything that is natural in imperfection and everything that is unnatural in chasing perfection. It's the chasing of perfection that is annoying and unnecessary and tiring, and we're wasting our time with that. Again, go for excellence, go for truth, go for beauty. And by the way, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder as well, as we all know. So perfection, or the chase of perfection, is actually a divisive process. When looking for perfection, we tend to see the differences in people and things. And when we look for the differences in people and things, then we're not looking for the beauty that is in the sameness. Do you know what I mean? Like if I look at you if I'm looking to see if you got it going on, then I'm not looking at you with love. I'm looking to see if you're more perfect than me. I'm looking at it with an eye of contrast and an eye of non-love is what I would say, and comparing myself to you to see if I'm more perfect than you. And the truth is that we are all perfectly imperfect, as I keep saying. So that's it. The perceived differences in categories allow us to then value people differently based on perception. A lot of that's going on in the world right now, and that's what's really disturbing, because there is beauty. I have a friend who has a book called she's a photographer. Well, Brene Brown has that book. I think it's The Beauty of Imperfection. And then my friend who's a photographer looks for the beauty, also photographs the beauty in imperfection. I got to get the name of the book. I'm sorry I'll send that information to you because it's really helpful. So Brene Brown's book, I think it's The Beauty of Imperfection. And I think my friend's photography book I should have looked at it before coming here. I apologize. See, imperfect, but still just fine. Okay, good. Imperfections are actually authentic. And a person who embraces their imperfection, owns them is far more attractive than the person who doesn't. So I recently told this story on a live stream. I have what is called, and we all have, something that's called a fatal flaw. And I was taught by a mentor of mine that a fatal flaw is something that everyone has and something that everyone perceives as something that makes them unlovable. So each and every one of you who are listening to this right now, you have something that goes, man, if people saw this, they would not love me, or they would not like me, or they would think I was unbeautiful. And we often try to hide our fatal flaw, or we try to cover it up, or we, mask it in some way. And for me, my fatal flaw, what I think is my fatal flaw, one of them anyway, is I'm knock-kneed. And the older I get, the more knock-kneed I get, because I haven't been doing my exercises and I'm not strengthening the muscles in my body that would cause me for the knees not to collapse in. So when I walk, my knees do like this. I can't believe I'm trying to demonstrate it to you. And it's, to me, not perfect. And to me, I got teased a few times when I was younger about being knock-kneed. And like I said, now it's even worse. And so when I get dressed, I usually wear really long dresses or really flowy pants, so it's not as obvious. And it's, like I said, it's getting even more and more obvious. And I remember thinking, no one's going to love me because of these knock-knees. People are going to think I look weird. And a few years ago, and I've had this complex for so many years, and then I decided, let me just embrace it. It is what it is. I can't spend my energy being upset about it. Just wear flowy things so people don't see it. You know it, but nobody has to know. So before I married the man that I'm married to right now, I remember saying to him, Reggie, I've got something to tell you. And it was really hard for me to tell him. He's like, what are you going to tell me? And he didn't know what it was. And here I was really pained about it. I was like, I have knock knees, and it's not ugly, and not beautiful, and it makes me ugly. And I remember he said to me, why would you point out something about yourself that's not beautiful? I find you beautiful. You don't know that I may look at that and go like, that's kind of cute. That's kind of interesting. And we do that. We telegraph what's wrong with us a lot. Like if you knew me, you wouldn't really like me. If you knew I was not me, you wouldn't like me. If you knew that I ... fill in the blank. And by the way, it can be a physical flaw in quotations, or it can be something else. It could be that your credit is bad. It can be that your bills are due. It can be that I don't want to put any labels on anything, but it could be that there's a mistake that you made in your life and like, man, I'm not lovable anymore because I made this mistake. I'm not lovable anymore because I used to be an alcoholic or a drug addict. I'm not lovable anymore because I used to be a mistress. I'm not really lovable because I was adopted and I don't know who my parents were. I'm not really lovable because, whatever, you fill in the blank, because I got a little crooked tooth right here. I'm not really lovable. Look at that crooked tooth. And we telegraph to the world, I'm not lovable because of that little thing, or those knocked knees, or my bad credit, or the fact that I still got dishes in the sink. And I want to say that you don't have the right to tell the world not to love you. And you don't have the right to tell the world not to find you beautiful. Here I was telling someone who had said to me, I'm going to marry you. And I would say, no, don't love me all the way because I have a fatal flaw. And he was like, why would you do that? Why would you ever tell someone not to love you? And so I'm saying to everyone who's listening to this in the sound of my voice, don't tell anyone. I'm not saying you don't share your truth with people, but don't tell someone not to love you because of something that you don't find beautiful, because you don't know how the world sees you. You don't know that there are people who probably do love you just as you are. And you need to focus on those people. Focus on those that would love you just as you are. Focus on those who would embrace you and accept you into a group, even though this group has ostracized you. There's a place for you. There's many places for you. And there's places with people who are just like you. And who are we to push off people who are giving us love? And so I know that that's something that we do. We're going to talk a little bit later about self-confidence and self-love. Don't push it off. Accept it, receive it, enjoy it. Because there's so many places that you won't get it. You might as well get it where you can and give it to yourself first. So now I don't hate my knock knees. I still wear flowy pants if I'm out or performing or something. But if I'm running to the store and I feel like putting on some leggings and my knees are knocking all the way, well then, oh well. I'm getting some soy milk for Reggie, that's my husband, or almond milk for Reggie. And if my knees are knocking and you see him, oh well. It's me. It's my life. And it doesn't mean that I am unlovable, and doesn't mean that my flaw is fatal. And look at some of these comments. I see people have found, you found self-love and you are beautiful inside and out. Yes, it's an old habit to focus on your insecurities. Yeah, we focus on our insecurities. We do, and it actually illuminates them in a way that actually, there's many people that won't even notice it unless you point it out. If you're so busy being your magnificent, yummy, wonderful, authentic, beautiful self where you are beautiful, ain't nobody gonna notice that you got knock knees or a little crooked tooth or your eyelashes don't grow long or whatever it is. Nobody's gonna hate you because you can't pay your bills. Maybe the bill collectors will, but you can seek excellence and seek beauty in those insecurities and improve if you want to. So the way I dress, I put all my focus up here. I go, this is the money right here, up right here. This is the good stuff. I'm gonna make this look all good so you don't even focus on what's going on down there. Focus on the good stuff. This right here is working. Work what you got. I happen to be voguing right now. Yes, I'm voguing. Don't judge me. So yeah, we have things that we struggle with, I know. But focus on what is beautiful about you. And maybe that's an exercise we can include here. I wasn't planning on including an exercise, but I'm very big. Those of you who know me, we're making lists of what you're grateful for. And I actually have a couple of mantras I'm going to have you do later on, or I'm going to give you the assignment about making a mantra. And one of them can be, I embrace myself. Actually, one of them is, let's wait for that part. Embrace what is and embrace what is already beautiful and just believe that it's beautiful. Listen, I remember hearing, and this is going back so far, but I remember reading somewhere that Cleopatra, who we all revere as this, amazing woman, was actually not really very pretty. I don't remember where I read this. It was like on History Channel, or I read it or I heard it. And she actually wasn't pretty by those standards at that time. She had a kind of a funny hook nose, and it's just her features were not. Now, in some societies, a hook nose is gorgeous, but she just wasn't pretty. And her voice was kind of high and kind of weird. Wait, I sound like Kim Kardashian. Apparently she had a very high sort of squeaky voice, but she spoke 17,000 languages. And when she spoke with high intelligence, and she knew how to use her womanly ways to pull people in and to run things, that she wasn't pretty by those standards. But she had that funny little voice, but when she opened it, she had something to say, and she had people to rule, and she worked what she got. She worked what she had, and who's to say if we know that's true or not? But I took great solace in that. Like, we look at Cleopatra as this, we've seen the movies with Elizabeth Taylor, who's gorgeous, being Cleopatra. And Cleopatra didn't look nothing like that, but yet she was ruling and rocking things because she knew where her magic lied. Her magic lied in the fact that she spoke languages, and she was apparently very charming to be in a room with. She walked into the room and Cleopatra is here. Meanwhile, she was funny looking. So who are you and your funny looking or knock-kneed self that you can't walk into a room and rock it? Rock your flawsome. Okay, this is all off the page. Imperfections are authentic. And like I said, if you own them, if you own your yummy, weird self, and I'm not saying you have to telegraph it, but just own it for yourself, it will resonate with you, and it will resonate with you in the rest of the world and everything else that you're doing. Okay? So the other thing is that when you make mistakes, laugh at yourself, laugh it off. Or at least embrace it and go, that's a lesson learned. And I talk a lot about this too, to look at things from a new perspective. When you make mistakes, when you take on things you shouldn't take on, or when you go down a path you shouldn't go, or in my case, I made a cake for my husband that turned out disastrous. Now, who knew he was going to take a picture of the cake and blast it on Facebook? But I laugh and I go, I never said I was a great cook. And yes, the cake was a little dry. And he said the cake icing tasted dusty. And it wasn't dusty. I think I just put too much cocoa in it. But we can laugh at it. You know what I did? I went out and bought him some cupcakes from Sprinkles, because those are perfection, or at least they're excellent. And so we laugh. You can laugh at yourself. And when you do that, you give other people permission to do the same. When you let others see the mistakes that you make, they are far more likely to be able to tolerate. They're far more likely to be able to tolerate their own mistakes as well. So each and every one of you that looks at your mistakes, looks at your imperfections, laughs at yourself, points out the fact that you got, crooked knees, you give other people permission to go like, wait a minute, you're all right with yourself the way you are. Phew, now I can do that too. And I think this is about freedom in the end. And I forgot to say that in the beginning, that this embracing of yourself is about a joy, a peace, a freedom, and an understanding. It's about a letting go of that which doesn't work and staying present to that which does work. And don't we feel the energy of people who are free when they feel free? Haven't you seen people who are just like, wow, she has got it going on? And not because her outfit is perfect, or because her hair is perfect, or because her body is perfect. It's just because she believes that she is. And she embraces for us, and she gives us permission to think the same about ourselves. So allow all this conversation to be freeing for you. Free from perfection means you're free to just be excellent, or just be authentic, or just be amazing, or just be flawsome as you are. I am going to stop here again and see if anybody has any questions or comments. Let me scroll down a little bit. Oh, My computer is misbehaving. Hold, please. It's being flawed. Maybe I just leave it alone. I'm going to leave it alone because I don't want to mess things up. So there is strength in laughter, and just as I was saying before about laughing at yourself, there is strength in laughter, and there's strength in life's messy moments. And admitting to your mistake and has the ability to grow and strengthen personal relationships. And that's another thing too with, with your friends or with your family or with your loved ones. When you have a moment that was funky or imperfect, to go back and look at it and go, this was funky, and this was, it was funky, it was flawed, it was imperfect, and let's do what we can to make it right. Not make it perfect, but make it right. And it actually is an incredible way to strengthen yourself and strengthen your relationships at all. Give yourself credit, because we all make missteps with our relationships with others. We say and do things that cause hurt, intentionally or unintentionally. I just came off of a situation, some of you know about it, where someone is saying some very terrible, untrue, unnice things about me. And the only thing I could do was to release it and let it go, and laugh at the situation and go, how will I still win even though you're trying to knock me down? It's all good. The process of healing, and I'm working on healing right now, the hurt starts by admitting that you were at fault, or in this case, that I was faulted. And I understand this person is imperfect. She said some mean, untrue things. And the thing that's getting me through it is the fact that I go, she's imperfect and she's probably dealing with her own stuff and she needs to put it off on me. And you know what? I'm strong enough to be able to take it because I know the truth of who I am. And I know that I make mistakes as well. And so those of you who know me know I talk about putting things into the cornfield. I'm going to wish it into the cornfield and keep moving on with my life in seeking excellence. So that was imperfect. I'm going to seek excellence someplace else. So I finished that part about so yes, and I told you all about the cake. I was supposed to tell you about the cake now. I already mentioned the thing about the cake. So here's some of the takeaways I want you to have. We live in an imperfect world. It's filled with cracks and dents and unintended coincidences, but perfectionism is an unattainable ideal. Dealing with the reality of imperfection is a healthy way to grow and obtain positive change, including just building an understanding that we're all flawed, becoming more authentic and likable by admitting our mistakes. Every time I do that, people go, oh my God, thank God you said that, because I was thinking the same thing too. Setting example for others who may be spending their lives in the futile pursuit of perfectionism. You strengthen your relationships and you find humor and laughter, and that is which is the mistake-making process. That's what makes us beautiful. So we're going to talk about now how to embrace perfection, if I may. Mama should have had her glasses. My eyes are not perfect. The key to happiness is not to attain perfection. Instead, real happiness comes from accepting who you are. I've already hit on this, so I don't need to hit it home again. I love that I have this, text to share this with you, but the truth is coming out authentically and coming from the heart. You just embrace who you are. If you truly just accept yourself, you have to also be willing to accept your imperfections. I'm saying this in quotes because what is an imperfection? What is a flaw? It's just a thing. We're going to come to that in just a moment about how to really, really embrace it. So the first is to just realize that you're human. You're not above anybody else. You're exactly like all of your fellow travelers on the planet. You make mistakes. Things get complicated. Oh, well, move on. Good. The class is over now. Bye. No. I mean, do you get what I'm saying? Like, we're all human. That this is the human experience that we're here. We're not here to be perfect. We're here to be human. We're here to be children of God. Really, I truly believe that we are. Now, here's what I want you to understand, too, is that imperfections are not weaknesses. Instead, many perfections can actually be used as strengths. And I already gave you an example of that, of how I took the weakness of being the fat girl in high school and turned it into a strength. I was like, they're not going to laugh at me. I want to make sure they laugh with me. And I want you to think about any perceived imperfection and think about what the lessons are and think about how you can turn things around and perceive them as a strength instead. I talk about my knock knees, and in my case, I actually like wearing long black pants. Like, that's a look that actually works for my body. Look, I've turned it into a strength. So yeah, it would be nice if I got down on the floor and did my exercise and literally strengthen my legs. But the truth is that I know that there's clothing that I can wear that will conceal it if I want to. And for me, that's a strength because I happen to like the way that looks. And see how I just made it work for me? You can actually make it up. We're living a life where it's, I don't want to curse, but you've heard of make S up. You can make stuff up and make it work for you instead of against you. All right, and we move past that one. So I already talked about laughing at yourself. Oh, I already covered this. I already also talked about embracing your imperfections. You just love up on it. And here's the thing about this. Number one, no mistake is too big to overcome. But the most important thing is that, I always say this too, if you believe it, the rest of the world will believe it too. You know, I used to talk about a metaphorical woman who is conceited. Remember when you were growing up, like, I can't stand so-and-so. She's so conceited. She thinks she's cute. Did you talk like that? I talk like that. I'm from Brooklyn. She thinks she's so cute. The thing is that she is cute. She is cute because she believes that she's cute. And you believe that she's cute too, which is why you're comparing yourself to her, why you're calling her out like, I can't stand her. She thinks she's cute. She just believes that she's cute, and you believe that she's cute. What would happen if you believed that you were cute too? Now, I know that this is really simplistic, but I need to make it that way. I need to break it down in that way. The thing is that the world will believe you. There's an actress I know, and I won't mention her name. And I don't think she's talented. Who am I to say? She just doesn't strike me. She doesn't strike my fancy. I don't think she's particularly pretty. I don't think she's particularly, not that you have to be pretty, but I mean, like, I'm going to say this for you so you understand. I don't think she's particularly funny or particularly talented. She's just not my cup of tea. She thinks she is the bee's knees. Remember that phrase? Oh, she thinks she's just fabulous. And she lives her life that way. And she has pictures on the Instagram and on the Snapchat and on the Snappy Jam and the Snappy Crap and the whatever they call that stuff. And she has pictures of her life and her fabulous life. And I'm like, I don't get it. But it doesn't matter. I don't need to get it. I'm busy comparing myself to her. She gets it. And that's all that matters. And I now had to change my view of her because, first of all, I like to be in a space of lifting all people up, and especially lifting up my other women, lifting women up and loving on other women and seeing the beauty in her. I see imperfection. I just don't get her, but she gets herself. And I had to strip away and go like, Kim Coles, what's wrong with you that you have an issue with her? It's because she is living her life out loud and being her perfectly imperfect self. And the fact that she believes it, she makes the world believe it too. And now she's taken me along for the ride too. I'm like, I didn't even like you before, and now I think you're fabulous, because she exudes this energy of like, this is who I am. I'm authentically me, and take it or leave it. This is who I am. And I've decided to take it, or take it in at least, or to look at it and go, like I said, I put a mirror on myself, like, ooh, what's wrong with you that you have a problem with her? And the truth is that you don't have a problem with her, that you have a problem with yourself. And I'm willing to admit that mistake. And I'm willing to look at it from another set of eyes. And if there's a woman who can embrace herself so beautifully, and if she is really truly being authentic, then who am I to knock it down and go, I can't stand her. She thinks she's cute. She's reminding me that I'm cute too. Ah, you're right. Sine says, what you see is what you get. And that's another thing that we have to understand too, that and you've heard this phrase, and I forget who said it, we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. You see the world through your eyes because it's your eyes. We see the world as we are. And that was a realization that I came to when I was hating on this girl. Like, why am I hating on her? Like, what is it about me that I'm seeing myself in her? What I did was I began to look for myself in her, and I go, if she thinks she's cute, then I can think I'm cute too. Again, I know that's really simplistic, and there's nothing wrong with having your opinions about people or things. You may look at something and go, I don't find that beautiful. But the trick is to realize that there is beauty all around us, and to embrace beauty all around us. And the more you do that, the more you exude that. And this is a woman who exudes beauty, even though I don't find her traditionally beautiful. She exudes talent, even though I don't find her particularly talented or interesting. Doesn't matter. She's all of that because she believes it. She believes it. And someone believes it because she's got the followers to prove it. And now she's got me too. You get what I'm saying? Wasn't on the lesson plan, but it came out. So I always ask for divine intervention when I do these kinds of calls or kind of lessons, or when I want to teach or preach or share. I'm being very authentic and saying, I didn't used to like her, and now I go, you're all right with me, girl. I'm not going to tell you who it is, because that would be mean. So there's something called wabi-sabi. Thank you, Claudia. There's something called wabi-sabi. And by the way, this is in your book that you should have already received, or you will receive as soon as I resend it to you. Wabi-sabi is a Japanese term. I'm going to break it down for you. So what is beauty? How do you define it? And there's a Keats poem. It's called An Ode to a Grecian Urn, which contains the line that beauty is truth, truth beauty, that is all on earth and all that you need to know. You may have heard that phrase before. And the thing about wabi-sabi is that we all live in an imperfect world, and in nature, things are rarely symmetrical. Remember I mentioned that earlier, that things in nature are not symmetrical and perfect. There are very few straight lines and right angles. Organic curves are not squared. Nature is far more concerned with function than it is with form. So much so that form follows function almost as an afterthought. So the world is actually governed by chaos, and the world more than ever lately has been governed by chaos. But that does not mean that things are completely random or happen spontaneously. There is an order to life and a cause, and there's an order, and cause does not precede effect. So there's more information about the order and the chaos. So the thing about the Japanese philosophy is that the world is a naturally beautiful place, chock full of people and things that please the eye. So if the world is beautiful despite its imperfections, then maybe it's our Western definition of beauty that is causing the disconnect between what we believe beauty is and the beauty that we truly observe. Is a rose any less beautiful because its petals are sort of falling off, or one is not symmetrically perfectly drawn? Sometimes when people draw roses, they draw them so perfectly. It's like, that's not what a rose looks like in real life. And that's not what a rose is in real life. It's perfectly imperfect. And no two of them are alike either, just like no two of you are just alike. So it's about embracing the inherent flaws and defects in everything as essential elements to everything that is beautiful. So the thing about wabi-sabi, by the way, in Zen Buddhism, it is said that words prevent enlightenment. So you're just supposed to feel this and experience this other than trying to explain it. But we got to try to explain it because we're here together. Defining the meaning of the word wabi-sabi actually goes against Zen Buddhism. If you're into that, this is just where this comes from. So the word wabi-sabi actually just translates into simplicity. Wabi means simplicity, and sabi translates as the beauty associated with wear and tear. So let's dig into this a little bit. That means that wabi-sabi means that your smile lines are perfect. That's wonderful. That's the good stuff right there. Because this is the wear and tear because I smiled a lot. or the crow's feet that you have because you crinkled your eyes when you giggled, or you squinting to look to see something on the horizon. That's beauty, that it's simplicity in the flaws. And in this book that I'm sending you, you'll see that they also talk about the tea ceremony and why wabi-sabi is also represented in a tea ceremony, because tea is often drunk from cups that were made by hand, and the cups have little flaws and nicks, and because they're not, they're made by hand, these little cups. And the beauty is in this perfect, delicious cup of tea that's going to soothe your soul in this earthen thing that somebody made that has cracks and flaws, and maybe the paint is chipping, and yet the beauty is still there. And so that if you can embrace this thought of the beauty and the not so beauty, or the beauty and the beast, maybe that's why it's such a time-honored story. It's all about embracing what's beautiful in the not so beautiful. And when you can do that, you can embrace that within yourself. So these cups I was just talking about are used precisely because they have flaws. They're going to hold the delicious tea for you, but they're not perfect. And yet the whole thing is still so wonderful. And when you look at this thing called wabi-sabi, it is actually the antithesis of the Western definition of beauty. Beauty in the Western way is very sort of perfect and symmetrical and often angular. Often the round is not, a curvy girl is not considered perfect. The stick, especially in fashion. So let's say in the fashion world, a stick thin girl is what is considered perfect. But there might be someone who looks at a curvy girl and go like, give me some of that. That right there is what I consider perfect. So we're saying that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and we're saying that beauty is actually all around us, and we're saying that you get to choose what it is. And I'm actually not knocking the stick straight girl. I'm just saying that that's what fashion says is beautiful. And so we all see the contrast. We go, that's not beautiful. I'm beautiful because I'm curvy. Well, actually, she's beautiful too. It's just she's been exalted as the only way we should be and the form of perfection. And that's why it makes the rest of us go, well, I look like chopped liver next to that. And the things that you get to embrace that tall, skinny, angular 12-year-old walking on the fashion runway. And you get to also embrace your grandmother whose arms are a little flubbery here, who has a little bit of a double chin, and maybe even has a hair growing out of it. She's just as beautiful as that tall, skinny supermodel. I just made that up. So, by the way, wabi-sabi is not found in plastic surgery. It's not found in city skylines or the lines of a sport car. Instead, it can be found in what is natural, what is humble, and what results from the work that occurs in our day-to-day living. And when you can be present to that, and when you can be mindful of that, and when you can just be, like I said, just present and embrace that, then you are embracing that which is really, truly beautiful and is meant to be revered, as opposed to this thing that is absolutely perfect. Does anybody have any questions or comments? Wabi-sabi embraces imperfection as essential to real beauty. Any comments? I don't want to mess up this. Comments or thoughts? You've come to realize that you hide behind your voice. So I won't say your name in case you don't want your name said. You hide behind your voice. What's interesting is I'm going to be talking soon. I think I'm going to do a challenge soon, like a free challenge on Facebook that's going to be around visibility and finding your voice and all of that. So just hold on to that. Hold on. Maybe you do hide behind your voice, or maybe, we hide behind our voices and behind things that have happened to us because we don't want people to know. But I think that there's something to be said about sharing your truth. I say share your truth, but not your business. You don't have to share all your business in order to share your truth. And I don't know if you literally mean your voice or if you mean the voice of what you have that you want to share with the world. So you can type that in if you want me to. And again, I won't say your name if you don't want to be revealed. But your truth is beautiful. I mean, I happen to know your truth or some of your truth because you shared it with me. And your truth and your voice, when someone hears your voice, when someone hears your truth, they're going to find extreme beauty and freedom and release in it, because you're sharing a story that is not just your story. We see ourselves in you. And there are other women and other people who have had similar experiences to you. And they need to hear your voice, and they need to hear that they're not alone. And they need to hear that you've chosen to remain triumphant and beautiful and wonderful, even in the face of something yucky that happened to you. We all have had yucky stuff, and we all are meant to rise above it. And I've said this before. My husband always says that, we always say, why did God give me this? Why did God give me this pain? Why did God give me this trouble, this tribulation? I have someone in this group right now who's studying to be a pastor, so I hope I'm saying this the right way. God gave it to you because you're supposed to transmute it. You're supposed to make it all beautiful. We're talking about perfect and imperfection and beauty. You're supposed to make it beautiful by letting other people know that you are beautiful because you transcended it. That's not on the paper. That's from the heart. And so the world needs your voice. The world needs your truth. The world needs your authenticity. The world needs your lessons. The world needs your message of triumph and beauty and authenticity and yuckiness and yumminess, so that we can transmute it for ourselves. Yes, I know the shyness and not being able to talk in front of a crowd, and that's okay. You're going to write a book. You don't have to talk. Just share it in your book if you want to, or if you just accept it for yourself. Because the thing is that we hold things in from ourselves as well. And as long as you're facing your truth is beautiful. I just said beauty is truth and truth is beauty. And you don't have to tell it to the world. I think it would be good for you to put it in a book so that others can see it. You can share it with the world in that way. I went off on a tangent there. We're coming up on 60 minutes here, and I'm going to get through the rest of this and then leave room for conversation and contemplation. So here's how we're going to embrace our imperfections. We're going to have self-confidence. We have foibles. I love that word, foibles. We have foibles and scars and scratches and mismatched parts. And so do we all. And it's about embracing what we already have. And you can decide to change some of it if you want to, or dress it up in a different way if you want to, as long as you embrace it first and go, you know what, just like I said, I've got these knock knees. I'm not going to wear skinny leg jeans. I'm not. It's not a good look on me, but not because I hate my body. It's just because they just don't look as good as a pair of flowing pants. They flow. They feel more feminine to me. It makes me feel good. Nothing wrong with it. You're going to spruce up. Confidence is all built in how you see yourself. There's nothing wrong with sprucing yourself up. Oprah always talks about those of us who work at home or work at home moms, or when you come home from work, you look like a schlumperdinka. I have no idea where she got that word from. But you just, the old sweatpants I have are just fine. That t-shirt with a hole in it is just fine. Even if nobody sees it, you see it. There's nothing wrong with, and it's not about spending a lot of money. You could still go to Target. Listen, there's some lovely things on the clearance rack at Target. They have to move stuff out of the way to get room for new merchandise. And the stuff goes on clearance. Go and get you some cute things so that you see yourself, even if it's not your husband or your mate in the house. There's nothing wrong with you having a t-shirt and a pair of pants that match, or at least of the same color scheme, or at least don't have no holes in it. There's nothing wrong with that. So spruce yourself up if you want to. Get your hair done. Get your little makeup done. Some people don't like to wear makeup, and I don't believe that you have to. In fact, tonight I didn't even have time to put on lashes, and yet I'm still perfect. You know what I'm saying? If you want to, there's nothing wrong with you sprucing yourself up and making yourself feel good and taking care of yourself and using self-care and get your nails done, get yourself a little pedicure. Listen, if you have to go to the pedicure place and they have to pull out like a lawnmower to get through your feet, that means you need a pedicure. It's been too long. There's nothing wrong with treating yourself that way. And because you will exude a confidence and exude a little something else, you have no idea what will come to you because you're sprucing yourself up and taking good care of yourself. The next one here is dress up. I don't believe that you have to, wear designer gear. Like I said, the clearance rack at Target has some very cute little things. There's nothing wrong with putting it on and putting on a little pair of earrings and looking in the mirror and go like, I look cute today. I'm telling you, if you believe it, the rest of the world will too. Just like I told you about that funny looking actress. I'm telling you, I said, she thinks she's cute. And I guess she is. I believe it now too. Spruce up. Dress up yourself. Change your self-image if you want to. If you don't like your hair, get a new wig. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with putting on a pair of lashes or trying on a new lip gloss. There's nothing wrong with it. Again, it's not lying to the world. You're not like saying, don't look at my lips. You're actually saying, look at my lips. These are my lips. I got big, huge soup coolers, and I'm going to put some bright pink lipstick on it because it's fabulous. Let me tell you, I remember when I first heard Tyra Banks talk about her forehead. Now, I've met Tyra Banks in person. When I tell you she is stunning, she's tall and her skin is so beautiful. She has those pretty eyes and she exudes an energy of utter confidence, but not haughtiness, just like down to earth, gorgeous confidence. And I remember saying to her like, wow, you're so beautiful. And she said, so are you. Well, I remember when she had her show, she talked about having her forehead, like she's got a really big forehead. And by her own admission, I'm not claiming it big, she does. And she talks about, kids teasing her like, girl, you don't have a forehead, you have a 5 head, it's so big. And she learned to embrace it. And she used to wear bangs all the time. And then she decided, no, this is my forehead. This is part of my face. It's the face that God gave me. Let me work it. And by the way, she's a billionaire now because of that forehead and because of that face and because of her smarts, because of what she's done to build up herself. And after she got off the modeling circuit, she's built this whole other business. She's made tons more money than she ever made as a model by using her smarts and her beauty and building her brand. And so if you got a 4 head or a 5 head or a 7 head, work it. Spruce it up. Wear little bangs if you're not comfortable with it. Wear a ponytail if you are. There's nothing wrong with embracing it and calling attention to it. In fact, I know somebody who has, really, she said she got teased as a little girl about having really big lips. And she always tried to diminish them. And now she wears bright pink lipstick and bright red lipstick. It's now the thing that, listen, look at how many people are getting injections to get big lips. And she says, I got these naturally. I'm going to paint up my soup coolers and make it work. You get the idea. The other thing, I see someone, you do feel that you're beautifully natural, and you are naturally beautiful. So you don't have to wear the makeup. Be you. I'm saying there are people who I don't think I look good without makeup, so they wear makeup. You think you look good without makeup, so wear none, because I'm going to look at you. Look at her. She's got on no makeup, and she looks beautiful. She looks beautiful. Look at her. Look at her. Look at her. She's beautiful. Love it. Okay, why is my sofa doing this? My sofa's creeping up on me. I think I told you guys before I started filming that this sofa misbehaves. See, I'm embracing the mistake of my sofa. The next thing I want you to do is be positive. Be positive. And I've talked about this before, so I'll repeat myself a little bit here. But I know this can't be emphasized enough, but I will say this. The way you remain positive is you remain powerful. And instead of focusing on what's not working in your life way over here, focus on what is working in your life. And so you can remain positive and positively powerful by not focusing on the negative, by going like, I know that doesn't work. I know that I got a crooked tooth, but I know if I wear my lip gloss and make it shine real pretty and keep my teeth looking nice and white, then nobody will notice. They're going to be listening to what's coming out of my mouth instead of looking at my little crooked tooth. Again, I know it's so simple, but I'm telling you guys, this works. Trust me, this works. Remain powerful by be positive. And when you can't, what I'm trying to say is be positive. And when you can't be positive, remain powerful by focusing on what is positive in your life. The next piece of this is to eliminate negativity. I mentioned to you earlier that I had something happen this former week. There were some people talking about me and saying really negative things. And I have eliminated them by not letting them into my realm anymore. You don't get a chance to be in my life if you're negative. You don't get a chance to be a part of where I'm going and what I'm doing if you're negative. I'm not saying constructive criticism is great. I'll take that. But literally being negative and being mean and saying untrue things, we don't get to be, we're not friends at all. You can't send me a Facebook message and I'm going to answer you. You've shown me who you are. So I'm not being negative about it. I'm just turning and focusing someplace else. And as I like to say, wish it into the cornfield. If it's negative, if it's not good, if it's going to hurt me and damage me, off into the cornfield you go, and now I'm focusing on things that are beautiful and perfectly imperfect. There. All right, good. The next piece of this is to know who you are. And, I really do believe that there's nothing wrong with making a list of that which is so wonderful about you. We all focus on what is ugly and what's not right and what doesn't fit and what's not working. Make a list of what you think is absolutely wonderful. One of you just said that I'm naturally beautiful. That's why I don't wear makeup. Write that down. That is huge. You know how many girls are like, I gotta wear makeup or I look like a troll. No, you say I'm beautiful naturally. That's so wonderful to have that strength, to have that. It's a strength. It's an absolute strength. And so make a list of your strengths. Make a list of what's beautiful about you and awesome about you. And on those days that you're feeling less than, refer to that list. Put the list up in your bathroom or on your front door. I have a friend who puts her list of attributes and things she loves or things she's grateful for on her front door. So every time she leaves the house in gratitude. She leaves the house after walking and reminding herself of how awesome she is. That's the last thing. She picks up her keys, opens the door, reads the list, and walks in that beauty at all times. It's a simple trick, but it's a wonderful trick. So give it a try. Act like how you want to feel. And like I said, this is in your notebook. Sometimes you act how you want to feel. You pull your shoulders back. The body responds. Like, wait a minute, she's standing up straight. Oh, that means everything. We've got to straighten everything up. There's actually a trick here that I'm going to show you that's in this book that if you're feeling kind of down, you could take a pen or pencil and put it in your mouth. And just the act of holding something in your mouth makes the muscles in your face look like a smile. Now, I know this looks crazy, but go for it. Just follow me on this. Look. Now, it looks a little crazy, but now I'm smiling. Well, what happens is something happens to the neurotransmitters in your brain that thinks, well, the face is smiling. That must mean she's happy. So I've decided the next time I'm angry at something, I'm just going to do this. Now, I think it looks like a little bit like a grimace, but my body's going to think it's a smile, and that's all that matters. And sometimes you have to do these little things just to fool yourself. And like I said, the exercise is actually in here. It says that studies have shown that people who are performing a task that they really don't like feel better about the task as well as performing it more efficiently when they hold a pencil in their teeth. Why? When you hold a pencil in your teeth, you're using the same set of muscles that you use when you smile. Your brain sees those particular muscles as activated and interprets that activation as a sign for the external events that are occurring are positive. So now, the next time I'm washing dishes, I told you this, dishes in my sink, I'm going to hold a pencil in my mouth. My husband's going to think I'm crazy. I'm going to be smiling, but the rest of me thinks it's just fine. Just something for you to use. There are other couple of things I'm going to do, and I'm going to start to wind down, or to do good deeds, do good work, be prepared, be principled, and I know everyone on this call is. Think before you speak. These are just things you can do to embrace your imperfections. I already told you about the standing straight one. And in the end, and in the conclusion of this, because I want to leave space for you guys to be able to speak, is you can act and think and feel as if you are wonderful as you are, that you are perfectly imperfect, that you are a child of God because you are, that you have self-worth because you do, that you are working on your self-esteem because you are, that you can be, do, and have anything you want. It's just a matter of believing it and embodying it. And so if it takes smiling when you don't want to, and I don't mean like be fake, but I mean there are times when you just have to pull it together, pull up. You know, I find myself sitting like this on my phone sometimes, and the body actually, the opposite of what I was just saying with the smile, the body sees this as hunched over and as defeated. When you stand up straight. And by the way, I just realized I'm going to send you guys a video that's from a TED Talk that teaches you how to stand in a power pose. And when you stand in or sit in a power pose for just 2 minutes a day, the brain goes, wait a minute, she is in power. He is in power right now, just because you're standing and aligning yourself that way. When we slump over the way we do that, it sends the body the signal that you are closing in on yourself. And when you do that out in public, people see that as weak and you're closing in on it yourself. When you open yourself up, throw your head back, throw your shoulders back, pull that tummy in, or wear a waist trainer if you have to. You know, you're signaling that I feel good about myself, and people will treat you as if you feel good about yourself. And sometimes we need to see it from the outside before we feel it on the inside. Let's keep it real. Sometimes I need it from the outside in to remind me that I do have it going on. So I'm going to stop here now and let you all ask questions or talk. I wanted to say to you again to embrace your imperfections, to release yourself from perfection. And here's the mantra I wanted to share with you. I release my control for perfection. I embrace the authentic, wonderful me. Another one I wrote, and you can write your own, but these are the ones I wrote for me, and I thought I'd share them with you. I seek excellence in all that I do. And I see beauty all around me at all times. Because again, we are what we see. We are, what was the phrase again? We are not, we see the world as not as it is. We see the world as we are. Okay? Okay, so what I'm going to do is, if you'd like to unmute yourself, I'm pretty sure that you've been given instructions on how to unmute yourself, or you can actually raise your hand if you want to. I think there's a way that you can indicate that you want to raise your hand, and I will unmute you. Excuse me, some of you are not on video, but you're on your phone, and you can still be unmuted and share. There we go. Who's that? Someone unmuted themselves. Let's see if I can go through and see. I see Harriet came in. Miss Cook, Casey, you want to be unmuted? There you go. You have been unmuted.
Yes, I just want to say I enjoyed the presentation that you gave, and I'm going to take away quite a few things that you have said to be more positive and bring back self-confidence in myself. Now you can mute me back.
Thank you so much. Did you get? Because it's weird. It's like I'm getting a half. I'm actually going to send some more bonuses to you guys. Everyone who said yes here, I not only have that book for you, I've got some bonus PDFs for you, and I'm going to send you that TED Talk, which is about how to stand in power pose. That was not something I was planning, but if it helps, then you should see it. And I mean, it's on YouTube, but if you don't know about it, you don't know about it. And I want you to know about it. It's a really popular YouTube video about standing in your power. And I'm saying standing in your truth, right? Anyone else want to unmute and say or speak or ask a question? I see you smiling, so nay. Your smile makes me so happy. Did you want to unmute? Oh, you did raise your hand. All right, let me unmute you. There you go.
Okay. This is all new to me. I'm trying to get used to what's going on here. So just bear with me.
We are embracing all of it. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. First of all, like one of the things that I wanted to say is, I had the total knee replacement surgery, And now I'm dealing with the fact that I have this limp when I walk. And uh, it's bothering me. Like I can't seem to get past it because I want to walk normal again.
Mm.
And it's really something I'm trying to deal with, you know.
Well, first of all, let me say goodnight to Elaine. Elaine just said she has to go to bed, so farewell, and I'll send you the replay. Well, let me ask you this. With rehab, will you be able to walk with less of a limp? Like, are there some exercises you can do that can strengthen the rest of the leg so that it will be less of a limp? Because I've been limping lately too because my knee hurts. I've been limping. So is it something that you think can be improved by physical therapy?
I did not get the proper physical therapy due to my insurance.
Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do. You going to Google exercises that you can do. There are things that you can do, just like I know there are things I can do and I'm not doing them. There are exercises that you can absolutely do that will strengthen your legs. Maybe you need to talk to your doctor to make sure you're okay to do them. But the lack of insurance should not stop you from being able to do what you need to do to strengthen yourself because it's something you say you don't like. If I were you, I would get me a real pretty cane and put some crystals on it and work it.
Well,
but
I do.
You have a cane?
Yes, I use a cane. I went to a new doctor last week because my doctor that did the knee surgery just disappeared.
Wow.
So he's saying that the limping could be coming from my back or my hip. But I just still don't feel like something is right, even though he's telling me, that he don't see anything wrong with, but through the X-rays I don't know.
Okay. So remember I said we're going to embrace it. So it is what it is for now. We're embracing it. But I'm going to say, I bet you there are some exercises that you can do that can strengthen the muscles around. Like for me, I know when I strengthen my hips, believe it or not, it makes my knees work better. Or if I wear an orthotic in my shoe because I have really flat feet, if I put an orthotic in my shoe, it lifts my leg a different way. And there are ways to, maybe your limp wouldn't be corrected completely, but I bet you there are things that you can do to work around it. And by taking those steps, literally and figuratively, by taking action towards it, it will probably improve. Now, maybe the doctor, I don't know if he did something right, he didn't do something right, maybe the limp will always be there, but I bet you it can be improved. I'm watching my father, he's in his 80s, improve with physical therapy. Our bodies are meant to be rejuvenated and regenerate at every age, at every stage. It can be better. So I bet you there's some leg lifts. You can get down on the floor, do your little leg lifts. I bet there's other things that you can do to, like I said, strengthen what's around it. And I would say go on Google and I bet if you put in, I limp now due to my knee surgery, what exercises should I do to strengthen the knee, strengthen my hip, strengthen the outside of the leg, which is, I think that it's either the adductor or the abductor. Ab or ad, they're opposite. One's on the inside and one's on the outside. You strengthen everything that's around that knee will click into place for sure. So just think about that. Or bejewel your cane and work it. Does anybody else have their hand raised or want to chat? Any comments? I'm looking. I see Trina's still smiling. Hey, Harriet, I see you. Hey, Sunshine. Anyone else? No one else. Harriet says, hi, how are you? Let me look through some of the comments. Anybody else? Lisa raised their hand. Where's Lisa? Let me find you. Hold, please. Hold, please. There she is. Unmuting you. Unmute. There you are. Hey, Lisa,
Hey.
go ahead.
Can you hear me?
I can.
I was trying to get the video to come on, but it's not working. I just had a comment of just how I've been feeling lately on the job, and it's like that angry Black woman syndrome that people tend to place upon us. And lately, I just feel myself just shrinking, getting smaller and smaller every day. Just I can just feel it. Like people speak to me any way they want to. And they'll say, oh, I shouldn't have gotten loud with Lisa, but they never come back and apologize to me. And at the time that they're getting loud with me, there's things in my mind. I'm thinking, I should tell them, until you can speak to me properly, I suggest that, you take a deep breath and you come back later, or just get up and walk away. But I don't. I sit there and I take it, because I know if I say anything, I come off as being the angry Black woman. Even when I'm not doing anything, people come up to my desk and say, what are you angry about now? Or thanks for not being defensive. And those comments automatically put you in a defensive mode. And, I'm just wondering why they tend to put that label on Black females. And it's to the point where it physically just makes me ill going to work every day. Yeah. And I'm just at a point where I'm coming up with an exit plan to quit my job and just change my life. I know you're going to be at Rosetta's thing in April. Mm-hmm. And I went to her one in DC, and I was wondering if I was going to come to the one in April, but it's like there's got to be a way, just because I know that I am powerful. I am educated. Sometimes I know that I don't want to say smarter, but even the bosses that I have that are making six figures, I know more. I don't want their job, but they only got where they are due to people like me who come and ask me for the information and put it out as if it's their own. And my boss has even told me that's how he got where he is. But he's one of the main people that will preface things when you say it to me. Thank you for coming to the meeting. Well, I was invited. Or thank you for not getting defensive. Or why do you have to say that when, whenever I'm in the room? So I was just wondering, how do you deal with that and keep from feeling like that you are powerful, that you are worthy, but you're not in the environment in order to thrive?
Well, there's so many things in that, and there's so many things in the myth of the angry Black woman. I wonder why they're saying that. Or do you act angry? Do you act defensive? No. Or they're just afraid that you're going to be that way, so that it's, listen, these people, this could be black, white, purple, whatever, but it is what it is. I think they probably do feel your power. They probably do sense your power. And in order to diminish it, in order to could you please just not get angry right now? Because they know that what they're about to say to you is going to be angering. And they probably do know that you're smart. They probably do know that your power. And the bad news about this is that the good news is that you could try to push back, and then you become a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you said to someone, could you please stop talking to me? Oh, she's an angry Black. Look at her. See that she's angry. So maybe they're trying. It's like you're darned if you're doing, darned if you don't.
Yes.
How do you feel about leaving your job? I mean, you say you want to. Do you feel that there's something better for you on the other side? Would it hurt you to leave this place?
No, it's just that I don't know what it is that I want to do. It's that find your purpose. I'm on that journey in my life. I've already graduated both my kids from college, so I don't need to be responsible to others anymore. I need to start being responsible to myself. So I'm trying to find my way. And
what do you love to do? What do you love? What if you left this job and you could step out and do something else, and it might just be another job, but what would you do if you could do if there were no rules, especially since both your kids are educated? What would you do?
Well, I always wanted to sing, and I used to sing when I was in my 20s, but I got married in my 20s and kids came along, so I gave that up. So I ventured off into use my voice in some capacity, and I'm working towards doing my demo reel for voiceover.
Great.
Um,
I was going to say you have to use your voice now because you've quieted it for so long, and you raised your babies, and you have you with a wife. You're going to have to sing or do something with your voice now.
but I know that the voiceover is like a safe route because I haven't sang in almost 30 years. So I said, well, I can use it in some capacity. I can do voiceover, and that can be my part-time job. I mean, it could turn into a full-time career.
And it could be very lucrative.
I know.
It can be huge and lucrative. But let me say this to you, because you said sing first. Is there a place that you can go sing? Can you go sing at church? Can you go to karaoke with some girlfriends? I think you need to sing. I think you need to sing and get it out. I think you need to sing.
I feel like I'm caged in.
Go sing. Find a place this weekend to go sing. Go to karaoke. Go to church, go to, you're not going to go to an audition yet or any of that kind of stuff. I think you need to sing, and I think you need to sing soon because that's going to uncage you. There's such a freedom.
I'm sort of, you don't want to say afraid of that sense of freedom, because.
That means you'll have to do something with it.
There's no coming back from that. Yes. Yes.
All right. So I'm getting comments from people. Gillian is saying, go for it, singing into your phone. You want to sing to us right now?
No, thank you.
Can you sing Mary Had a Little Lamb? Just sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. Just sing one sentence of one thing. I think you must.
Oh my God.
Please. We can't even see you, so I don't even know what you look like.
I know, but it's late at night. Let's see. Mary had a little lamb, little lamb, little lamb. Mary had a little lamb. His fleece was white as snow. You see, I'm shaking. I used to sing.
And we're loving you. There's all this applause happening for you right now.
I used to sing.
I heard the smile in your voice. I heard the freedom in your voice. I heard the quiver in your voice. I heard the joy in the voice. There are people here saying you need to do live. Oh yes, live Facebook videos. We'll come to that. You sound good. Sing. Singers sing. Writers write. Teachers teach.
I know.
Preachers preach.
And I was watching The Voice. It was on tonight. Every time, I cry on those shows when those shows are on because I didn't do what I wanted to do. And I was on the verge of it when I was 22. I wrote songs. I sang them live on stage and was offered to, a scout was in the audience, but I was active duty military at the time. We couldn't leave. I couldn't just pick up and go. But he wanted me and the lead singer and our bass player out of a band. So I was in a band.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I know that.
You don't need to hear me say it's never too late. I also think you need to sing and use your voice on your own time because you're not able to use your voice at work. And I think that that's going to free you up. Number one, you won't feel as restricted on the job that you're presently on because you're still there. I think you'll be able to go, I don't need to speak back to these people because I have a place to sing this weekend. Or I have something, like you have another outlet and you don't need to be the angry Black woman, the label that they put on you because you are a beautiful, uncaged bird singing someplace else. Again, karaoke would just be so much fun because there's no rules. You don't have to sound good. You just have to be. And you will sound good because you do. That's the good news. You need to sing and you need to sing now. And as you're singing and as you're getting that out of you, I think the workplace for now will become a little bit more palatable because you won't be shrinking. When you sing, you have to open your diaphragm. You have to open your mouth. You won't be closed off because you have another place you're opening it up. And it won't matter.
I've even envisioned when I do leave, it's gonna be a singing telegram when I walk out of there. We got it planned.
I think that's great.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
You're more than welcome. And did you just sign up for this today? Are you the last email that I sent out?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I know who you are, and I'm going to look for something special for you. I don't know what it is, some sort of exercise or.
And may I ask you also, I went to the Rosetta things and starting your own business, but I think the things that I want to do don't fall into that category. Even the voiceover, it fits a different route as to turn that into a business. I'm wondering, because I want to come in April to see you. I just don't know. I've been to the independent business one. I don't think it's going to fit what I want to do.
I think because you want to sing, then and not that I'm telling you not to go to Rosetta's, because it's all about embracing the best you and building your business. But you're right. What you want to do is you should be spending your time and your energy getting yourself ready for your voiceovers and getting yourself ready to use your voice in many, many, many ways. And I think that, where are you based, by the way?
I'm in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay, there's got to be places that you can go and study and sing and do and learn the business of voiceovers. And I just, I don't want to take you away from going to Rosetta's thing and would love to see you there. But I think that the time and the money and the energy that you will spend there could be used in getting your voice ready.
Well, I'll have my demo reel for voiceover by the end of April. So I'll have it done.
That's good. And there's so many opportunities in that world. My friend T.C. Carson, who was Kyle Bowser on Living Single, has made an excellent extra side gig for himself and life for himself by doing voiceovers. It can be wonderful because it doesn't matter how you look, and you can be an angry Black woman as long as you sound like what you need to sound like. You don't have to.
We have Cree Summer from A Different World. That's what she's done all these years.
Oh my gosh.
Susie on Rugrats and all. So I've researched it. So I know, I think this is validation. I'm on the right track.
You are. And when I say the right track, that means you need to put some tracks on and sing.
Yes. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. Thank you. All right. I've got time for one more. Sonia sent me a message that CJ is on the line. I think it's 954. I'm unmuting you now, CJ. There you are.
Hello, darling.
Hello.
Hi. You know what? I've been trying to multitask, and I didn't get a chance to go live, so I just called in. But I ask you, the young lady that just speak, I think what you need to do is go on YouTube and do some private video. Just sing, and private them until she build up enough courage to kind of let out one to friends. And, she just has to build up her courage. And what you told her, it's like in addition to what I'm telling her, because you went there real great. I mean, it couldn't be any more better. So there's a lot of ways she can, because she sounds like she have a wonderful voice, and people get discovered from YouTube. So she can go on YouTube and she can sing and private her video just to keep looking at herself, how she sing, how she sound, and practice, make perfect. I'm pretty sure and 100% confident that she will make it. She just have to strengthen those wings, which I know I have no, so that you won't help her strengthen her wings, to soar. And for Sonia, with her, what you need to do is get a heating pad early in the morning and put it on her knees and get one of those big Zoom vibrator and put it on her knees. And I know that for me, almost 60, I like to do squatting, and I used to have pain in my knees. And what I do in the morning, I stretch first. The dog, the cats, they all stretch. Stretch first, and then soak your feet in Epsom salt daily. These are little back in the days remedies, without medication, because I hate medication. I feel it helps one part of your body and it tears the other part up. So I am all for natural, but a heating pad and deep vibration will 100% help her the pain in her knees, and I guarantee her that will work 100%, and then get the Epsom salt, for that. Kim, I just want to tell you that what you're doing is excellent. You are building something that you don't even imagine the magnitude in what you're building and helping.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my darling.
I think that's a good place to end. That brings us to a happy ending. There's a joke there too. In the massage world, there are people who perform extra tasks, and at the end it's called a happy ending. So I think that brings us to a lovely happy ending tonight. Not where I was expecting to go, but I was happy to go on this wonderful journey with all of you. Thank you so much for saying yes to this. Like I said before, you will receive your replay. You will also receive that book in case you haven't gotten it yet. I also have some bonuses for you. I will send you that video I was telling you about standing in power pose. And just thank you so much for saying yes to this, and to love your perfect imperfections. Like I said, I embrace my own. I want you to embrace yours. And I love up on people when I see them embracing their vulnerabilities. It's what makes you absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much for saying yes. And y'all have a wonderful evening. And that was a wonderful, happy ending. All right, you guys. Good night, farewell, and thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, bye.